Didn't really help. Okay, so everybody, welcome to the first, I guess, test run of the JavaScript workshop for Career Karma. The idea behind this is to introduce new people to JavaScript if they've never seen it, also to assist people that have already started it. Maybe they're having issues with it, don't understand comprehension of certain fundamentals. I've thought about this. It'll be kind of difficult to, especially if we have one of these every week, we'll probably have to keep it on a fairly beginner basis for each session, each week, because for new people that are going to be trickling in and joining us, if we try to advance each week as one giant group, we're going to have new people coming in and they're going to be completely lost. So I figured for now, we'll keep it fairly simple. And then maybe eventually if this does really well, and I will ask for input from everybody, what you think when we're done, if this benefited you, et cetera. Maybe we can ask them if we can start doing a second night a week for a little bit more advanced, if that makes sense. Maybe one night a week for beginners, another night a week for a little bit more advanced. Then who knows where it could go from there. We could end up having, 5 of these a week or something, right? For those of you that aren't familiar with JavaScript, it's used by many developers. Almost any boot camp you're going to go to, I promise you're probably going to have to do JavaScript. The nice thing about learning JavaScript is as you learn other object-oriented languages like Python or Ruby or whatever, you will see similarities between the languages, okay? Variables, loops, arrays, things like that. You're going to see similarities. So a lot of people, you've probably heard it said before that once you learn a language, it's easier to grasp the next language. There's different syntax. There's different words that describe something in one language that's the same as something else. Maybe they just call it something else in another language. So as you learn, as you start going through this, you're going to pick up more of that information and learn. And I highly recommend several things. Number one, if you're brand new to this in general, all of it, practice and repetition, okay? The more you do it, the more you get comfortable with it. You're gonna feel uncomfortable. You are learning a new language, okay? If this is what you wanna do and you wanna learn this, every one of these small incremental little boundaries that you push past to get past, you're gonna be better and better. If you guys are familiar with Keisha Lake, back in December, they did a interview with her. It's on the YouTube channel. They did a podcast with her. A year ago, she was brand new. She started posting on Twitter little short videos to vlog her journey, right? She didn't even know what JavaScript was a year ago. So if you're sitting there like, I don't even know what JavaScript is. In December, she got a job with Stitch Fix, making $98,000 a year remote from Atlanta. That's where she lives. So a year ago, she didn't even know anything. Now she has a job making that kind of money. So just to give you an idea, it's not a unicorn. It's not a pipe dream. It is possible. If that's the changes you're wanting to make and change your life, just stick with it. If it was easy, everybody would do it, right? If JavaScript was easy, everybody would know it. Of course, nowadays, if you're 12 years old in school, you probably know it, but that's another story. So, so here's the plan. What I was hoping to do, and again, tonight is the very first one of these sessions, so we're still kind of playing it by ear. I am open to suggestions, criticism, ideas, all that kind of stuff. I would ask that maybe you can message me on the Career Karma app with any suggestions or ideas that could possibly improve what we're doing. But the main idea behind this is hopefully that everybody here can take away something from this. With that said, I just want a little caveat here. I am enrolled in a boot camp, okay? I am not a professional software engineer, not yet. I am not a tutor. I'm not a teacher. I'm not a professor. I'm just like you. I've just been doing this longer. I'm a coach for Career Karma. I spend my time trying to help other people. So please put the kitty gloves on. Don't hate on me too much if I make a mistake or I say something and you know better. By all means, let me know. One thing you will see is that there are always multiple ways to do things. Okay. Even with what I'm going to show you tonight and what we're going to work on, there is going to be many different ways you could solve like a coding challenge. There's not always one correct way. And the more you see of that and the more you are able to do of that, the more that's going to broaden your grasp of it for in the future when you need to work out stuff. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I prepared a code challenge, JavaScript code challenge off of Code Wars. And if you're not familiar with Code Wars, you can Google Code Wars and find it. I highly recommend in your spare time, if you have any, to check out things like Code Wars, Code Signal, and other websites that are free that have coding challenges. Okay. The more you practice, the more this stuff's going to be like muscle memory. What I did was I prepared one and we're going to go over it together. We're going to discuss it. We're going to work through it. We're going to solve it. And then we're going to discuss it some more. Okay. I picked one that's, in my opinion, it was fairly easier. It's probably not the easiest one, but I didn't want to, I wanted something that was a little bit challenging, but so everybody hopefully can get something out of it. Okay. In the meantime, you can meet other people, make squads, join squads that already exist, find other people that are interested in learning the same thing you're at that point learning, work on stuff together, find a time. Hey, what are you doing Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock Central Time? Cool. Let's do a Zoom meeting or Discord or Skype or however you want to work it out. Reach out. Trust me, the more you work with other people, the better. Okay. I'm more of like a stubborn lone wolf kind of person where I always think I got to figure everything by myself and wait too long to ask for help. If you're looking at going into a boot camp and learning this stuff, don't ever wait too long to ask for help. If you're doing a lesson in boot camp and you've been stuck on it for a day, you need to be asking for help. Don't get behind on your school just because you think, no, I can do this.
Can I chime in on something as well?
Yeah, Katie, go ahead.
I'm a group leader as well. Colorado Coders. I'm in Denver. Well, I'm in Aurora, right outside of Denver. The one thing I tell anyone that messages me is do your research, because that is a huge thing with development, is knowing how to do research. And a lot of things with advanced like developers too, they have to look things up. So they need to understand about, it's okay if you don't know something and you have to look it up. So that's one thing too. Don't let your pride get in the way. Like if you don't know it, look it up or ask someone on different forums, because that is what development's about, is like asking other people, getting help and working together, as you were saying.
A very good point. And I've mentioned this before, that there's people out there right now making well over 6 figures that spend half of their day on Google and Stack Overflow looking up stuff. So unless you have a photographic memory, you're not going to memorize and know everything. Don't feel like you have to keep going over a certain prep course until you have all of it memorized, because it's probably not going to happen. You're just going to frustrate yourself and waste a bunch of time. Get the basics, move on to the next thing, get the basics. The sooner you could start making stuff, building stuff, the better. Also, when you're watching a tutorial, you're watching a YouTube video, you're taking a Udemy course that you paid $11.99 on sale for, whatever. Don't just watch it. Every chance you get, fingers on keyboard, type along with it. Just like muscle memory with everything else we've learned as little kids growing up, your ABCs, if you took typing in school, all that stuff you knew nothing about at one time until you practice it repetitive. So documentation. Look up documentation for whatever language or whatever you're working on. You'll find resources out there that have an entire page, an entire list of methods, or you're doing something with for loops or arrays, or as you get into like doing React and stuff with components and all these different things. We live in a world where the internet and the Google is right there. Look it up. Like she said, don't be afraid to research it, because now there is a difference between Googling an example of something to help you solve something. We get started. 54 people in here. Thanks so much, everybody, for showing up. I hope you're able to get something out of this tonight. Any questions before we get started? Anybody? Okay.
Hi, this is Tommy. We've messaged before. And all I can say is everybody really do exactly what he's saying to do. I've worked for the government and stuff, and I'm looking to get into Java, heavily into Java. I have a basis in software packaging, software engineering, but I'm looking to advance it, so to fit for the CompTIA test.
Now we're going to be going over JavaScript, not Java, just to make sure everybody understands. If you hear Java and JavaScript, they're two completely different things. Just so I know it's confusing, right? Why they use Java in JavaScript's name, right? Sorry, Tommy, I just wanted to clarify in case anybody heard that. And
isn't the parent script ECMA?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm just like you guys, but maybe 6 months ahead of you or 8 months ahead of you or something, right?
Okay.
Just so you know where I'm coming from. I tried going to college for 6 months, realized after 6 months I hadn't had any computer classes. So I said, forget that, no more. I'm not going to do 3.5 more years to rack up debt for this. I tried self-taught. I tried the free code camps and the team tree houses and the Udemy courses and all these things. ECMAScript, I'm sorry, and thank you, Antonio. ECMAScript is like your ES6 version of JavaScript when you have the different versions of JavaScript. So yes, I believe ECMAScript is where the different versions of JavaScript come from. So anyways, about a year ago, I found Career Karma. They had just developed the app, got involved with Career Karma, started looking into boot camps. Bada bing, bada boom. I got my own, everybody's got their story. I got my own story. I started this last May. I've had some speed bumps and hiccups and different things since then. I'm still at it. I'm 47 years old. So any of y'all out there in your 30s or 40s and you think, I wonder if I'm too old for this, there are tons of jobs out there empty, looking for people with skills. You got younger people nowadays that go out and work a job for 2 or 3 years, jump ship to make more money or get headhunted to make more money. These companies are looking for people with skills. Are there going to be companies out there that they wouldn't tell you this, but maybe frown on you because of your age? Absolutely. But do you want to work for that company? No. Go work somewhere where they don't care. They want you for your real world experience. The fact that you can do something. And if you're not asking a question or something, could you mute your mic, guys, if you don't mind, because we're recording this. So, anyways, so no matter what your age is, just keep that in mind. As long as you get the skills, and you have something that these companies need, they're willing to pay you for it, right? If you got a few more years in you before they put you out to pasture, you could still make them money. There's companies that'll still appreciate you for that. One last thing before I start, especially if you all live in a metro area, maybe like a city. I mean, we got people from all over the place. Atlanta, Houston, New York, wherever, right? Go to meetup.com, look under tech, find if you have any meetups in your area. I highly recommend, even if it's just one day a month, you go to a meetup if you can. I go to a local Ruby meetup here in Columbus. I'm telling you, the people I have met already, the networking, the advice. I actually found a mentor, a guy who's a Rails developer here in town. He meets with me 1 hour a week, and just his advice and his help and stuff has been invaluable already to me. So highly recommend that. Go to a few meetups, meet some people. Don't be shy about asking, like, hey, would anybody be interested in mentoring me? Maybe meeting with me once a week for coffee or once a month for coffee or something. Okay. Just saying, give that a shot.
And that too, in Denver, there's a developers happy hour every second Tuesday of the month. So please, and there's other meetups too in Boulder, in different parts of Colorado that meet too for projects and other things too. So like, use your free resources, he's saying. The one in Denver, the meetup for the happy hour, it is sponsored by the boot camps here. So nice. Usually like by Flatiron or General Assembly or one of the boot camps, and people are there. Like staff is there and students are there because they're there because part of tech is networking.
Yep.
I've been on this journey before I found Career Karma for about 2 years. So I've been going to that meetup for about 2 years, and I've been with Career Karma for like 3 months or something. And I'm trying to get into Flatiron, but no, that is really important. Whether you're an introvert or extrovert, you still need to be going to that because it's very important.
The one I go to, they actually take at one point, they'll have speakers come in and they talk about Ruby stuff, right? It's sponsored at a company called Cover My Meds. It's one of the top, whatever, 100 companies in the country to work for right now. They do Rails. They actually go, is there anybody here looking to hire? And there's people that come to these meetups and they'll stand up and say, yeah, we're looking for a dev. We're looking for 3 people. We're looking for 2 people. And then they'll give us an opportunity. Anybody here looking for a job? Or if anybody, is this your first time? Do you want to introduce yourself? If you're a shy person and you're never that guy to raise your hand to make the comment, leave that guy in the elevator on the way up. Be the new guy or the new lady. Okay. This is a new.
Can I add something to that?
Go for it.
All right. So I just want to share a small testimony of what I had done just to meet up with these people, because if you want to work with in this industry, I actually picked up like, most IT companies, they have like lunch programs for their workers.
Mm-hmm.
I actually picked up jobs in almost 6 to 7 IT companies here in Atlanta just to meet with the software engineers.
Okay.
I would go there and set up lunch and meet with them. I have over 200 software developers linked with me on LinkedIn. So if you're in Atlanta and then you want to meet up with people, yes, like you said, there are meetups, but also try to look for temp jobs. Go into the companies like Calendly, Better Cloud, CallRail, places like that. So like you said, if you're not ready to link up, you're not ready for this industry. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people, the stereotypical developer is the little quiet guy in school that sat around on the computer all the time, but ended up, like invented World of Warcraft and now he's a bazillionaire or something. Right. So it doesn't have to be like that anymore. You can be yourself. You can learn skills. You can make money. Thanks, Leo, for that. But yeah, I would say meetup.com, check it out. If nothing else, go try one. You can walk in. If you don't feel comfortable, eat the free sandwich or slice of pizza. I don't know, whatever. And then split. I'm going to share, unless anybody else has anything, I'm going to share my screen. And
I have something.
Jonathan, what's up?
Not much.
With especially West Coast people, there's a company called Acela. They're based out of like San Jose, San Francisco area.
Mm-hmm.
And they're the ones that they initially started out as a building permit company. And now they have taken over most of the states doing things like hunting and fishing licensing programs. And basically what they do is they take an off-the-shelf product and design it.
Okay.
And that's the last company that I worked for.
Yeah. And that's something else. Also, folks, real quick before we get into this, there are, what is it? Tech. Oh my gosh, there are blogs out there. There are different resources where you can get updates on tech, the tech industry, latest tech. If you've never been one to read that kind of stuff or read up on that stuff or even podcasts, explore some of that. The more you immerse yourself in tech, in coding, if you're driving down the road and commuting to work in the morning, instead of having the radio on, listen to the same music, the same songs you've heard a million times, find a podcast or something, stream it from your phone or something, go on YouTube, find people talking about coding. Maybe you're working on JavaScript right now, or you're working on something for school. Even if you can just hear them talking about it, immerse yourself in it. I think you'll find that it'll keep your mindset on your goals. Take a picture of that vacation spot or that house or that car or that boat or your kids or whatever inspires you to make these changes. Set it as your desktop, set it as your screensaver on your phone, whatever. Remind yourself why you're doing this. It could be a big picture of a pile of money, whatever it is, right? Jonathan, you wanted to say something real quick and then we're going to get started, okay?
Yeah, I wanted to say if anyone's learning about Python or needs help about Python, I'm currently taking it at the community college. So if anyone needs help, they
Awesome.
can always DM me on the app, the Career Karma app. And
Okay.
I also have LinkedIn, so I'll actually put my LinkedIn profile in the chat so
If
everybody can use it.
Good idea. If anybody wants to, in the chat for the Zoom meeting, put your LinkedIn, put your Twitter, anything you want to share with each other, add each other, emails, whatever you guys want to do. This is a good opportunity for, you are in a room full of people, which to see how many people are still here, 54. So
Hey, Craig, I'm sorry. Before you start, I just wanted to share something I found out today, which I think might be helpful to somebody. I heard that one of the software engineers had told me about it. Actually, a vice president of an IT company told me about this company. They actually hire new people, not really hire, they take on new people and train them. And then if they see that you're good in the areas they've trained you, they retain you. I'm gonna put that up on the chat. It's called Red Venture. So you can check that up in your city because I hear they have offices all over the United States. It's called Red Venture. So it's up in the chat right now.
Okay.
Thanks.
If it's Reventure, I would highly, okay, Red Venture, I don't know unless they change your name. Anytime you hear that kind of stuff, make sure, do a lot of research on them. Some of those companies, they hustle you into signing a contract. They put you to work for a little bit. They take a huge chunk of your income for a long time. It's more or less, I'm not saying that one, but I'm saying some of them are,
yeah, I understand you.
They
so
take
please,
advantage. So yeah,
please
absolutely. I appreciate it. If you guys check that out, I'm just saying, do your homework on anything like that. What's too good to be true sometimes is, or sometimes you just stumble on something that's really awesome. So cool. I have not heard of them yet. So thank you for sharing that. Appreciate it. I'm just giving people a heads up in general. There's somebody emailed me the other day in Washington, D.C., and he almost signed the paper because they're like, yeah, we're going to hire you. We're going to train you. And then you just pay us back a percentage of what you make for like 4 years. And it's like, I don't know about doing an ISA for a job and not even getting to go to boot camp, you know? So, okay. I'm going to share my screen, folks. And like I said, if you would like to put your Twitter, your LinkedIn, any of that stuff in the chat window. I see it looks like Alejandro did. Okay. Got an email in there, some Twitter. Excellent. Feel free to network because, like I said, you're in a room right now with a bunch of people that are in the same boat as you, right? Interested in learning JavaScript or wanting to learn or needing to learn or wanting to brush up on it or whatever. Perfect opportunity. Form squads, start communication, pair coding, stuff like that. So can you guys see my screen? Yes? Okay.
Yes.
So all this is a level, I think it's a level 7. This is just a random code challenge on Code Wars, okay? Codewars.com. The nice thing about Code Wars is it's not just JavaScript. When you first sign in and log into Code Wars, you'll see where you can pick which language you're working with. So if you're doing, I don't know, I don't want to go back to that screen, but Ruby or Python or whatever, you can do challenges in different languages. Okay. If you have experience in a language and you're trying to learn another language, I recommend you try to find Rosetta Code. It will show a lot of parallels between one language and what the equivalent is in another language. If you're like, man, I can't remember how to do this in this language, but I know how to do it in the other, you might be able to figure out some of those parallels. So what I had in mind for this was we're going to look at this challenge. We're going to talk about it as a group. We're going to pseudocode a little bit. We're going to basically comment code in here and talk about how we think we should figure this out. Then we're going to try some stuff. Now, keep in mind, there are going to be multiple ways for you to solve this. And I'm going to go through it here and explain what this one is in case you all can't see the screen or the letters or whatever. So this particular one is in JavaScript. It says, make a program that filters a list of strings and returns a list with only your friends' names in it. If a name has exactly 4 letters in it, you can be sure that it has to be a friend of yours. Otherwise, you can be sure he's not. So the idea of this is to design this program, or in this case, this function, so that no matter what you put into this array and feed into this program, it's going to output only what we want. And in this case, basically, anybody with a 4-letter name should output. It should return that. Okay? So over here on the left is an example of an array with multiple strings. So if this array was used to run this program, the output would show these 2 names, because Ryan and Use, whatever that is, are the only 2 names that only have 4 characters. If it was less than 4 characters or more than 4 characters, it's not going to output. Okay. This is just an example here of what an answer could be. This particular problem is set up to where anything that is assigned to the friends array is going to filter through this program, and it's going to return only 4 names that have 4 letters. Down here are some samples of what, if you ran the test, what you should see coming out. Like this second example has numbers in it. Numbers don't come out. Just any name with 4 letters. Okay. When we're done building this and I run it to see if it passes, it's going to, built into this coding challenge is about 25, 30 different pre-made arrays that it's going to test and run. And you'll be able to see that when we get to that point. So don't sweat that. But for folks that have never seen JavaScript before, this is going to be maybe a little bump ahead of where you would start, but we're going to walk through it. We're going to explain it. Okay. So with JavaScript, in this example, they created a function already for us. This function is sitting here. The function is called friend. Okay. Friends is the array of names that's getting fed into it from the tests. Within these curly brackets is where you're going to build this code out. Anything you see in JavaScript with the 2 forward slashes like this, it's a comment. It's like a Post-it note. This will not interfere with the code, any of the code that's ran. You could have lines and lines and lines of notes, and as long as they have that slash or forward slash in front of it, it will not affect your code running. Okay. These are notes here either for you temporarily while you're working on it, or depending where you put the notes, for other developers that may come along later looking at your code and give them an idea of why you put something right here. Also, when you are working with JavaScript and you are creating variables, or you're creating functions, or you're creating anything, when you make up that name, do not use like A, B, C, D, or that kind of stuff. Try to be descriptive. Okay. So this function is called friend because we're looking at the names of a friend, and the array, they're calling it friends with an S, which they could have called it giraffe or elephant. It wouldn't have mattered, right? As long as it's pulling in what is over here. See where it says friend and it has this array. So as long as friend equals whatever's in these brackets, could be 5,000 names, it doesn't matter. That's where it's pulling here. That's what it's going to look at for this particular function. So with that said, we're going to talk this out and we're going to make ourselves some notes. So I'm just going to go // and we're going to just put some notes here. Who wants to grab the microphone and guess or tell me how you would start out? What do you think you would want to do? And now keep in mind, layman's terms, we're just speaking English here. We're going to say, I think the first thing I would want to do is do this or figure this out or whatever. So does anybody want to volunteer to layman's terms, talk about what they think we should have to do to figure this out?
Sure. Can you
You can go ahead. Go for it.
Okay, cool. Let's see. I would probably create another array, like an empty array, so I can pass any of my answers into it. And then I would create some type of logic, whether it be, I don't know, let's just do the thing that never fails, regular for loops to try to loop through it and match any specific answers that I'm looking for. So, and then
create some kind of logic that
that loops through the array that the function is passed. And if a certain element at a certain index matches what we're looking for, then to pass that into the empty array and then return that array if it exists.
If an element at a certain index equals
the friend name,
then what?
Then to pass that into the array we created.
The empty array?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, you see all I'm doing here? I'm just interpreting what she's saying. I'm putting it down as notes, right? We are planning this out. And whenever you're working on problems, don't be afraid to make your own notes. Think it out, think out the process. And when all else fails, get a rubber duck. Okay? I know, it's a joke. But if you look online under Rubber Duck Debugging, I actually have a squad on Karma called Rubber Duck Debugging. There is a theory behind it. A lot of times you're working on this stuff. You don't have anybody else around. There's not somebody else to look over to the next cubicle and ask. There's maybe you're Googling it, but you're not finding the answers. You have to sound it out, walk through it, figure out why your code's not working. The rubber duck theory is people that, it's kind of a meme, I guess, but people that have a little rubber duck or a little Yoda action figure or something on their desk that they talk to. And they go, hey, duck, what's going on? I did this. I created an empty array to pass the answers into it. Okay, I made the logic that I wanted to loop through the array. Oh, wait a minute. Here's what I did. I forgot. Thanks, duck. Take the rest of the day off, duck. You're good. So just saying, sometimes walking through it, talking it out, asking those questions, talking to yourself. Hey, you know what? I'm okay with it. If I get a job and I'm making 100K a year, and I don't care if the guy in the next cubicle thinks I'm crazy or not talking to a duck. Do you care? I don't care. So moving right along, we just get more and more people coming in. This is great. I appreciate you guys really for being here. This is good stuff. So, Kalila, did I say it right?
Yes, Kalila.
Kalila, thank you very much. Awesome job. So with that said, does anyone that is brand new to JavaScript, maybe never even seen it before, want to ask any questions or guess why Kalila came up with these concepts or ideas of trying to break this down? Does anybody in general have questions? Because I have the answer already. I could just put the answer in here. We could say, well, good night, everybody. See ya. The process of doing this while we're doing this is to explain so that you guys can go and you can work on these yourself and you can learn, right? That's the takeaway from tonight. I hope.
I'm a complete newbie. I could give it a shot.
Okay, go ahead, George. Wait, George.
So yeah, that's it. Yeah. So I believe the way I understand it is that we're trying to input all of our data, which could be all of our names, through a function or something. Then it would go through each individual data point, and then if it doesn't match the criteria of it having like 4 letters in it, or it's like and it has to be 4 letters too, so that's why like the numbers wouldn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So the way I understand it is that you create an array, it puts all of the input into it, and then it will only output all of the ones that satisfy the requirements of it being 4 characters long, and they're all numbers.
Okay. I think you were very, I don't want to say you were wrong, but I think everything you said was correct. We're wanting to take a group of names, and we're wanting to iterate through that group one name at a time. We're wanting to inspect that element, see if it equals 4 letters. if it does equal 4 letters, we want to take it out, or we want to put it into our new container. And when we're all done, go through the entire list. Then we want to output all the names that were 4 letters, right? Okay. And in the process of doing that, we need to check each one. So let's think of it just, I'm going to make something up here, but just to get away from all the nerdy code examples and all this stuff, right? Don't get me wrong. We all want to be nerds and be high paid, high quality nerds, nerd money. But how about this? How about we had a bus, and on the bus, we've got 10 people, and we want to take only the people that have 4 letters in their name, and we want them to go somewhere else on another bus and leave everybody else on the bus, the original bus. Okay. I'm making this up, just spitballing here. So if we went through and we went to each person on the bus and we said, what's your name? John, get on the other bus. What's your name? Beverly, sit down. Shut up, Beverly, you're not going. No, I'm just kidding. If there's any Beverlys here, sorry. Point being is we're going to go through each person at each seat. If you're 4 letters, go get on the other bus. And then at the end of the day, we've got another bus full of people with 4-letter names. Okay. Make sense? Sorry, Beverly, if you're out there anywhere. So it's technically, it's kind of what we're doing. We're going to sort through this array. We're going to take out people with 4-letter letters. We're going to put them into this other container, which Kalila said was the one we're going to create. It's going to be sitting there waiting. And then part of this process. Now, as we're going through the bus and we're pointing at each person, she said that we needed to create some kind of logic that will loop through the array, right? So we don't just say, hey, look at this array and here's an empty container and put people in this container. We need something that's going to go through, look at the first person, do something with the first person, take them out, skip them, whatever. Go to the next person, do the same thing, and keep going until there's no people left, right? And it needs to know when to stop. It needs to know to switch to each next person. So that's the logic that Kalila was asking about. So with that said, part of that logic is not only to go through and check each person, but the process of taking that person and putting them in the other bus, okay? Because you can do more than just put somebody in another bus. You can remove some, these are terrible analogies, they sound horrible. You could just, a Thanos snap, no, I'm just kidding. There are certain things called methods in JavaScript, which you can find documentation of with a huge list of different methods. There's dot pop, dot push, dot shift, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And somebody was asking earlier about the different, I think it was Tommy, right? About the, EctoScript, whatever. There's different versions of JavaScript that will come out, and they'll take something that people use all the time and they'll find an abbreviated, shorter way of doing it, like an arrow function or something, right? So there's going to be code you're going to see, and you might see the same code 2 or 3 or 4 different ways, and it all does the same thing. It's just a newer version of a shortcut version of doing it a certain way, okay? So if you're Googling and you find an example of something just like what you're working on, and the script or the syntax looks a little different, don't freak out too much about it. I would say maybe investigate a little bit more and see why that's different, the way you were taught. You'll see tutorials, a lot of beginner stuff, where they'll be showing you JavaScript on a inline JavaScript built into between script tags on an HTML page, okay, on an HTML file. That's called inline. The common practice or proper way to do that is to put JavaScript on its own file, and you import it to your HTML. Because if you start getting a program with thousands and thousands of lines of code and you've just got JavaScript like plugged in there from here to there, how would you ever go back in there and find what you need to find with all that HTML and all that stuff, right? So just because you see it in a tutorial, that tutorial might be 7 years old. This industry changes constantly, okay? So back to the problem here. We're kind of running short on time. I know the beginning there we were talking about other stuff, and which I'm fine with because I feel like this is an introduction. This is something we're going to keep doing every week. So I hope you guys come back, right? Guys and gals, sorry. I hope everybody comes back and you learn something from it. So with that said, we're just going to go right below this first thing. Create an empty array to pass answers into it. How would we create, what would we put here to create an empty array? Who wants to volunteer that one? George is like, hey, I'm just the idea guy. I'm not the, no.
I got no idea. When I say newbie, I'm a newbie.
Okay. We can do it several ways. Now, when you, sorry, my chat window, I'm missing stuff here. Sorry. Okay. Okay. So when you're using newer JavaScript, older convention was var. A lot of times you do tutorials and you're learning, you see variables that are called var whatever equals whatever. Var. Well, typical convention now is let and const, okay? Variables can be changed. Maybe you're creating a program and you're setting something at the beginning, but somewhere else along the way, it can be changed to something else, okay? Let's say you're, I don't know, top of my head, you're playing a game and you create a character name and your character's name is George, okay? Welcome, George, to the game. And as you hit level 10, now all of a sudden your character is no longer George, you are Sergeant George, Lieutenant George, whatever, right? So say it's something that needs to be changed throughout. Well, if you use the, and there's my computer facing up, sorry. If you use the word let, it can be changed later. If you set a variable to const, like constant, it's going to stay constant throughout. You can't make it something else. Okay, so with that said, we're going to use let. I sure hope this works because after all that I just said, it better work. So we are naming the empty array, right? We're naming the empty bus, the thing we're going to put stuff in, right? Let's name it, how about just names? Let names equal, anybody want to tell me what an empty array looks like? I see
bracket.
Yep, bracket, open bracket, close bracket. Whoop. And then because it's JavaScript, we finish a line with
A semicolon.
yeah, thanks, David. Okay, so there we go. So I know, right? It seemed like a lot of work, but we got it figured out. We just created an empty array and we're calling it names, right? What's it doing? It's doing nothing. It's that empty bus that's just parked over there. We haven't done anything with it, but we need it, right? So we made it. Okay. So what do you think? What's next? Create some kind of logic that will loop through the array. Kalila said it earlier. Part of the word's already in here. What do we need to make?
A loop.
Thank you. Gee, how did you know? Okay, so we're going to create, in this case, because like I said, there's multiple ways this can be done, but in this scenario, we're just going to make a simple little for loop, okay? That's simple. Yeah, wait till you see it. You'd be like, shut up, Craig. Okay.
Nested.
So when you make a for loop, we're going to have, and you can get into this. We can get into this. I don't think we're going to have time to get into this totally, but arguments. some of this might be better if you just find yourself a nice little JavaScript for beginners YouTube video that talks about basic concept of JavaScript, if you haven't done that yet. Mosh, there's a guy on YouTube, Mosh, Coding with Mosh, I think. He has this really nice intro to JavaScript basic intro. And I love the way he explains stuff. He's real good about explaining stuff. Highly recommend, go on YouTube, Coding with Mosh, find his, the free intro. It's about an hour long intro to JavaScript on there, and just watch it, listen to it, whatever. I think it'll make you understand a lot of this more. So running out of time, I'm going to basically kind of work on this, and I'm going to build this out, and then we're going to talk about it. Okay. Because if I keep breaking it down anymore, we're going to be here for another 2 hours, and you guys probably have family and children to put to bed and all that stuff. So, we'll say let I equal 0, and I'll explain what all this means. Just bear with me. It's going to look really frightening for some of you. And again, there are more ways you can do this. Arrow function, there's shorter ways you can do this. More abbreviated ways, etc. And as you learn more and there's because what we're wanting this to do is we're wanting it to loop through. Remember, like I talked about before, you go on the bus, you walk through each person, see how many letters are in each name, and then you need to progress from one person to the next person and the next until you run out of people. Let me just finish putting this here, and then I'll go back through it and we'll explain it. Or maybe I'll go back through it and see if anybody else wants to explain it. I think that's right. Empty array, I0, I less than friends length, plus, if friends index dot length equals 4, and then names dot push friends, and I knew it, I forgot a bracket.
You probably need closing brackets, or should have open and closing brackets for your for loop.
I couldn't hear you. Closing brackets for
Your for loop. Open and closing brackets for your for loop. I mean, you don't necessarily need it, but
well, let's see. We got an opening.
you have no opening brackets for your.
We have an opening bracket here and a closing bracket, and you're right, we missed a closing bracket
That's for your if state.
right here. Thank you. Right.
The bracket.
Yep. Yep. I had 2 closing brackets, and that's what I get for.
You also need a closing bracket for your for loop, and
Okay.
then a return for the names array.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What was the first part you said?
So a closing bracket for
That
your
one?
for loop,
Okay.
like that. I don't think you have a closing bracket for your for loop. And then you also need to return the names array, I believe.
Yep. You're right. We have a closing bracket for the if, but not for the for. And okay. And then between outside of our, oh, this thing is picky. Sorry, I'm so used to using my own editor. I know where I messed up here. Oh man, come on. The tab, using this, the tab and the, see when I start typing, it types over it. It's not set up like my editor. I apologize. Give me just a second. Let me just clean this up. No pressure or anything. It's not like, 50 people are watching me code. No big deal. It's just bad enough that it's like 50 people watching me trying to copy my code and still screw it up. Okay.
Take your time.
So that I think is correct. Yeah. Then here. What's that? Somebody said something. I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry. All right. So let me run this and see. Okay. It doesn't like.
You need to remove the dot after friends because you'll get the index of each thing. So you need to remove the.
Yep. You're right. Yeah. When I retyped it, it left that other doodad. Okay. There we go. So, it ran these random, these tests that were pre whatever figured into this. And based on everything it ran, it got back values that passed the parameters of what the test wanted, right? So see, it says you passed all the tests. Okay. So who was that? Marcus? Who was just talking? Who was telling me to get rid of the period? Who was that?
Antonio.
Oh, Antonio. Man, you sounded just like Marcus for a second. I thought Marcus snuck in on me. Marcus is a TL at Lambda now, so I'm sure he knows more than I do about JavaScript. Okay, so let's talk about this mess. Some of y'all out there have seen this before. You totally understand. You probably understand there's different ways we could have done this. Thank you for the help, because I am basically sitting here trying to type on this screen from the other screen where I have already the answers. And I apologize but hey, it's realistic, right? It's real life. This is like reality TV trying to watch somebody actually code in front of other people. Perfect. So we're going to go through this really quick. Or does anybody else want to go through this and explain what's going on? Anybody want to jump in there? Feel brave?
I would totally do so, but only if no one else wants to. I'm totally ready. I'm sorry. I'm the person who puts my hands up.
I looked over and I saw you all like chomping at the bit. Like,
yes.
I know what this is. Anyone else want to try first?
I would do it, but she seems a bit more eager than me. So
well, we'll let her clean up. Okay, we'll let her come in and play cleanup if somebody else can't get it. Who wants to try it? Come on. That's what we're here to learn for, right? Anybody? Really? Come on. It's okay to be wrong. Heck, look at me. I'm up here doing this in front of everybody. Fumbling like I don't know how to type or anything. All right, Khalil, do it. Go for it.
Okay.
Tell us what line and what it's doing.
Okay, so, all right, we got this function called friends, and the first thing we did was to create an empty array. Why did we create an empty array? It's because we want to separate the answers we want to return in the function, right? So we don't want to manipulate the function we're given that's being passed to the function. We want to create a completely another array and then pass the tests. So how do we do that? We need to create some logic that allows us to do that. Iteration, for example. Which method? We chose the standard for loop. Standard for loop involves a counter, right? What's a counter? What are those used for? Counters is something that will allow you to go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 through an array, for instance, through all the, not elements, the indexes, right?
Yep.
Indexes start at 0, even though it's the first element, right? So we need something that can change the number of the index to be able to look inside each value or element that's in the array and do something with it. So We set that up with the for loop, let our counter I equal 0, and we're only going to allow it to go up to 1 less than the entire length of the array. Why do we do that? Because an array length can be 5, right? But like I said, indexes start at 0, not 1. So array length of 5 has indexes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And we need it to go up, which is why we do I++ for each iteration. We're going to look at index 0, we're going to look at index 1, and so forth. That's what that whole for loop looks like. What are we going to do that as we look at each, element? If the element at that array, the length of that element, if it's equal to 4, right, which passes if the name is 4 characters long, then that's your friend, right? We're trying to find that. If that element within the friends array's length is 4, that's the one we want to push that value into the empty array that we created way before we even created the for loop, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the whole magic of the situation. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We don't want that. We got Kiera or Kieran or something like that. We don't want that. We got Mark. It catches that, then pushes that into the names array, okay? It goes through the entire friends array, and then the for loop is completed, right? Because it gets to the end of the friends array. And all we're left with is the names array, now complete with the pushed values, the correct values from the friends array. And we return that, and here we are. Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry, my sound was off. Could you repeat all that for me? I'm just kidding. Awesome job.
Thanks.
Yeah, just, and here's the thing. We can sit here and explain this, and I'm going to go back through it real quick in like layman's terms or whatever, but you need to learn how to talk like that, okay? She just volunteered to be the new teacher for the every Wednesday no, I'm just kidding. So when you're going through this, like she said, whenever you're dealing with an array, even though you see like 5 things in an array, right? The first thing is not index 1. Human beings think of the first thing as number 1, right? In an index, the first spot is 0. So there's going to be things you're going to do with the counter to add 1 because you want the item, even though it's an index 0, you want it to move to the next thing. And I should have mentioned this earlier. Part of the reason why you create the empty array is you never want to manipulate the original array, right? Like technically we're not pulling people off of the bus and putting them on the other bus. I guess what are we doing? Cloning people? We're taking a clone of everyone with 4 letters and we're putting them on another bus to take them somewhere. I guess, I don't know. So you're really not manipulating who is on the bus. You're not really taking them up because you're not going to change the original array. You're just going to pull from it to decide what's going to be in your second array, I guess, whatever. So whenever you see let I or var I just is the typical thing people use to stand for index, okay? You could have put let banana equals 0. And then everywhere you see an I in here, it could have said banana less than friends, banana plus plus, right? Whatever. I is just the convention for use when you're dealing with an index. I doesn't have a special description or definition that you have to use I, okay? I is just the convention. Does that make sense? So what this says is you're starting with the first thing, which is in spot number 0. If the length, if it's less than the length, like how many is left, whatever spot you're on, if it's less than how many are on the whole bus or in the array, then it's going to keep going and you're going to keep adding until there's no more left. Okay. Then, like she said, if whatever we're looking at, whichever one out of the, that index, if we're looking at it and it's equals 4, the length, which is how many letters in that item, push into names. Names.push means add. Names.push means push something into names. Names is what we created. Names is our empty bus, right? And what we're pushing into names, into the empty array, is whatever that index increment that we're currently on in the loop, which is right here. and it's going to proceed through this and through this and through this until we reach the point where we've progressed through every single thing. And then it's going to take that empty array, our other bus, right? Names, and return, which is show it to us. Or in this case, it's not printing it on the screen, but the system knows what it is. And that's what the system said. Okay, your output of names equals what it's looking for. Everything, when it ran the test, everything that it could possibly throw through this, it doesn't throw an error. It doesn't yell at us that we allowed something that was 3 letters or 5 letters to work, or numbers or symbols or whatever. Okay. So let's talk about it. How many people are completely confused and have no idea what we've been talking about for the last 35 minutes? Don't be shy. Anyone? Gwendolyn. Derek. Gwendolyn said it twice. Brittany, really? Okay. I'm super confused. Derek. Okay, no problem. That's what we're here for. Just buy my course for 19. No, I'm just kidding. You guys are like, I've already seen you code, Craig. I'm not buying anything of yours. Okay. That's okay. That's why we're here. We're gonna get better at this, because everything you guys are learning on your own, everything you're learning doing prep course, all the explanations and the walkthroughs and all that stuff. Raise your hand if anybody thought you were going to come in here tonight for an hour and walk out being like, damn, I learned JavaScript. Okay. This isn't one of those Trudeau things where you go get hypnotized to lose weight or stop smoking. This is the beginning of something we hope to make for everybody to learn together. Does anyone feel like they learned anything tonight? Let's start there. Does anyone? Okay. Thank you, Gerald.
I'll say something, like, in terms of what I learned. I am somewhat familiar with JavaScript, but not as, I'm not as articulate in the language as, like, Kalila is. But I will say this, that there are things that you kind of explained that actually make more sense to me now than they did before.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah, so even though, like, I couldn't explain it or articulate it as Kalila did, because
No,
at this point, like, who could?
No, I agree. Kalila, you did awesome. That was great. I could tell she's gone down the road of a few courses or tutorials or something, because she was able to nail it. And I'm telling you, you guys that are preparing for boot camps and you go to do these tech interviews, some of the schools require tech interviews.
That's how you want to talk.
You do want to articulate. Yeah, you do want to articulate as best you can, because that's part of what they're critiquing you on, is that you can talk like a nerd. Sorry, Kalila, I don't mean you sound like a nerd.
No, but I mean,
it's
complimentary.
Nerds are awesome. Nerds are great.
But she used the right vocabulary in
yes.
this particular instance, and
yes.
And I was able to actually follow what she said after your explanation as well.
Mm-hmm. Now keep in mind, what I said, there could be other better ways to explain it, whatever. I'm trying to keep it more to, for some of you out there that have been doing JavaScript for a while, maybe know you forgot more JavaScript than I know, all that kind of stuff. I got it. I get you. I am trying to help people that are brand new or have just started it and they've been doing it, or they've been doing Grasshopper or something and they think they kind of understand, but they don't understand, to break that next barrier. Every little win to help you to understand this and break it down. You could work on this code challenge right here and even maybe figure it out based on Googling stuff and still never really understand why it did what it did, right?
I never understood why I was I until today.
Yeah. It's just convention.
It's index. That makes sense to me. It's not just like an I. Mm-hmm. You know, this isn't algebra. This is JavaScript. I actually mean something. You know,
yeah.
So and repetition also is very important for those of you guys, those guys who are new out there. Like I said, this isn't my first introduction to JavaScript. I've been around the block a couple times with this before, but the more you do it, the more you immerse yourself in it, kind of as Craig iterated earlier, the more familiar you become with it.
I hate to say practice makes perfect, and you'll find yourself at one point, you'll look back 3 months ago and be like, Man, 3 months ago, I couldn't say anything. And now look at me. I sound like that Kalila girl from that first. So my friend Sherm is in the chat. He's in here. I don't know if he's still in here, but he said, which is a good point, for everyone, useful concepts to take away that are involved in this lesson: instantiating reference variables, iteration, arrays, accessing array elements, and the return keyword. So if that should make sense based on what we broke down earlier. Those are more of the technical terms. You guys are talking about being more verbose in the technical jargon. That's the kind of jargon you're going to see and you're going to want to learn. And by the way, Sherm went to Flatiron. He graduated and he got a job already. So any of you looking into Flatiron, if you're wondering, does it really work? He is
I just
one
got
of,
my email. I just got accepted to Flatiron.
Oh, did you? Nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Your Flatiron prep is going to be JavaScript, HTML, CSS stuff. You should, now that you got accepted, if you decide to start on the start date, or if you have a start date, they will be emailing you email for a login. And once you can log in to learn.co, you can start on the actual prep course. You're going to be learning Ruby. If you're doing software engineering, you're going to be learning Ruby. So,
Can Kalia
have fun.
do my Ruby for me? She
I
speaks the
talked to-
language.
I spoke to Timur about,
JR.
I spoke to Timur about us maybe potentially doing something like this with Ruby, but I'm only one man. I can only do some. Oh, I'm just kidding. This helps me learn too, because like I said, I am not a guru, but most people that know a lot about JavaScript, maybe they're out there working, doing a job where they use it all the time. I don't want to say they don't care about career karma, but they're not one of us. You know what I'm saying? For them to come in once a week and spend an hour to help people they don't know learn JavaScript. I mean, I'm more committed because I'm part of the community and I'm a coach and that kind of stuff, and I want to do it. And let's be honest, it helps me, right? It holds me accountable too. At least 1 hour a week, I'm learning some JavaScript. You know, so once Kalila takes over and we have, you know, some good content. No, just kidding. Seriously though, you guys, there's nothing stopping you from having your own study sessions with squads or other people. I encourage it. Pair code, at least with another person, work in groups with people or in trios. You'll bounce stuff off of each other. You'll miss something, they'll catch it. Granted, you're always at the mercy of the weakest link, right? I mean, if you're grasping it faster and they're not, I mean, I get it. Some people like to do stuff on their own because they don't want somebody else slowing them down. I get it. But even if you're only doing it for an hour or two a week with somebody else, it's still, you have to learn how to work on teams. With these jobs and stuff, you work, unless you're freelancing and doing all your own stuff, chances are you're going to work on a team with other people. You got to coordinate with other people and even work on the same repo and, you know, fork a repo or branch, work on stuff, upload it, somebody merge it back with the whole repo. I mean, that's a whole nother discussion right there with using Git and stuff like that. Okay, so I know we kind of scrambled and hustled through that last part just because kind of ran out of time, but what do you guys think in general? Interested in doing more of these? Obviously this was a test run tonight just to kind of work the bugs out. Give me some, if you haven't said a word tonight, unlock your mic and give us some feedback. Tell me what you think.
I thought this, I thought that this crash course helped me to understand the logic and the concept behind the creating empty arrays and what the variables in the JavaScript language stand for.
Like the
as
let
well as
and
how to
const and stuff.
articulate. Yeah, as far as how to articulate. So I think it's really helped, and I think we should do more of them. But you know, for me, I just think more or less if I just practice it more every day, then I'll start to grasp it. It won't be like, you know, I won't feel like having the, you know, imposter syndrome.
Let me ask you guys this. Tell me what you think. Do you think if you were to attend this or try to attend this each week, because we're going to move, it's going to be on Wednesday nights. If you knew what the challenge was ahead of time, would you guys want to try to see if you can tackle it on your own before the session? Or would you rather do it like this, where we bring a brand new challenge that I've already worked out, I got the answer for, and then go through it?
I like the first suggestion. Like, okay, this is what we're going to be talking about tonight, and give us the opportunity to look it up if we choose to see what we can do to figure it out on our own. Because this way it's not such a blank slate. This way you can kind of like, okay, who actually did this and what did you come up with?
And I think, yeah, I think I agree with myself on that. I mean, I'm just kidding. I agree with you on that. I think doing that, also, come to think of it, it'll show that you guys will see that there will be 2 or 3 or 4 of you that all got it to pass, but your code doesn't even look the same. Well, I mean, exactly the same. And that'll kind of show you the idea that there are different ways to write code. Doesn't always mean there's only one way to do it. Now, is some more clean, some better, some repetitive? Dry, DRY, don't repeat yourself. Dry code is a big deal, just typical convention, because when you work with other people that have to go in and add to or whatever, you're going to see what they call like spaghetti code and monkey code and all kind of stuff, where people just kind of hack stuff together to make it work. And sometimes there's a cleaner, better way to do it. But I think that would be pretty interesting. How about this? This will kind of make it easier. If you have not joined the JavaScript Workshop squad on the Career Karma app, that is the new squad I just made. Join that squad. We're going to be doing these classes on Wednesdays. And what I will do is I will try to, sometime probably between the Wednesday we have it and that weekend, I'll find a new coding challenge, and then I will post it, a link to it in that squad, so you guys can find it and work on it. Now, it may not always be Code Wars. It might be Code Signal. It might be some other website. It might be something I made up on my own and put on a Replit page or something. But whatever it is, I will put that link in the squad, JavaScript Workshop squad. Is that okay? Instead of me running around the app and trying to post it in 17 different places, just join the squad, and then this way you always know you can get that link each week. How's that sound?
Good.
Cool.
That sounds good. And I have one thing to say too. My friend, he changed careers and he learned Java on his own. And he was already an engineer, but not like a software developed engineer, but his mind was very analytical already. But he went to a coding challenge in Denver, and now he's a developer for an app developer. Like he got hired from a coding challenge, because they have those too. So that's another thing for, if you should try to go to those as well, even though if you can't do it, just to network and meet people who are doing them, because that's another way for job opportunities too. And to go see other developers that are maybe more advanced than you, that you could maybe talk to and pick their brain.
Absolutely. Any resource you could find. If you could find Discord chats that are on certain topics and meet people through that. There's a lot of people out there that are real jerks, to be honest, and will talk down to you because they act like you're stupid because you're trying to learn or whatever. You might have a simple question. But for every one of those people, there's a couple people out there that would help you. Don't let the people that blow you off sour you on it. You will find people that think like, oh wow, you're 33 years old, a mother of 3, and you're trying to learn to code. I think that's really cool. You know, here's a website or 2 or 3 that I used when I learned. Check it out. I mean, who cares? Get all that information, gather that stuff up, find something beneficial from it that's going to help you. Then go for it. Right? I'm telling you, meetups, if you can do them.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say.
I attest to that.
Yeah.
Oh, I just wanted to say, when you're doing these challenges, if you get stuck, a good resource is MDN, because all of the different things that go through, all the methods, all of the possible things you might want to use in your code, you're going to find a good explanation of what each method does and examples. So, you know, you might find something that you learn that's brand new to you that you could use in one of these. I actually am in my second quarter at Kinsey. So
nice.
We did JavaScript, CSS, and HTML the first quarter. Now we're doing React. So
nice.
There's a lot of people that never touched this before. And they actually teach us that if you're stuck for 15 minutes, get up, walk around, get away from it for a little bit, come back. And if you work on it 15 more minutes and you're still stuck, then ask for help. Don't go more than a total of 30 minutes being stuck on something.
I was going to share this too. I can't find the name of it, but I found this on Amazon for like $10, right? It's just a little clock. And if you turn it on its side, it's got 5 minute, 15 minute, 30 minute. This is actually pretty cool, almost like a Pomodoro kind of thing. I don't know if you've ever heard of that before, where like you work on, like you code for 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break. This way you can stay productive. But
please share the link.
What's that?
Please share the link.
For this or for the Pomodoro technique?
On this.
It's just a little clock I found on Amazon for like $10, but if you turn it sideways, it'll start a 5-minute timer or 45-minute timer or whatever. It just comes in handy. I don't know, maybe look up increment timer on Amazon or something. I can't remember. I'll try to find it. But MDN, Mozilla Developer Network, that she was just talking about, excellent resource. On your discussions tab on the app in the middle under beginners, I think, I put a section in there called bookmarks every developer should, or links every developer should have bookmarked, or whatever the heck I called it. People are adding to that. Go check it out. There's tons of good resources in there, whether it's HTML or W3 Schools, MDN. She was talking about React. If you go to React's documentation page, there is like a treasure trove of information about React there and documentation. Any language you're looking at, Google the documentation for it, and you're going to find resources from the people that created it. Where better can you find resources than the people that made the thing, right? Highly recommend bookmark that stuff. Don't just try to remember it to go back to it later. Go open your bookmarks, tag it, bookmark it, and have it in your bookmark list. You will want to use it. Yeah, thanks, Sherm. W3 Schools. You know, Stack Overflow. I know it's popular, but man, it seems like whenever I go on there, I find a bunch of crap that doesn't help me and a bunch of people flaming whoever posted the question. But yeah, MDN is Mozilla Developer Network. Google that. Bookmark it.
Hey, Craig, can I say something quickly?
Absolutely.
So I know you mentioned Stack Overflow. One of the things I've noticed is Stack is really confusing, especially for somebody that's new or trying to get answers or trying to branch out and get into a community. It's really easy to get lost on Stack, and it's easy to
real user friendly. Yeah.
Yeah, unless you kind of know what you're doing.
I would say save Stack Overflow for later, because when you go and you're trying to install Linux on your hard drive or something, and you're getting a weird kernel error or these weird like deep like terminal command line errors and weird stuff because you're trying to maybe do in Ruby and you're loading gems and stuff, copy those errors, Google them. When a Stack Overflow answer comes up, check them out, because that's going to come. Those are the real handy ones that when you're really trying to dig deep and find something, you should be able to find most normal JavaScript stuff and things like that, HTML, CSS, between W3 Schools, MDN. Stack Overflow, I would say save that for more complicated stuff. Yeah, see German, GC, weird errors. Solutions for errors, not explanations. Yeah, because a lot of those people, if you go in Stack Overflow, if you want to get answers from somebody, you need to show what you were doing, what you were trying to do, what problem you got. They want to see like error reports. If you don't bring them all the stuff, you're probably going to get flamed or deleted. You know, unfortunately, that's just how it is. There's other resources. Don't sweat it. There'll be a time later in life where Stack Overflow, you'll probably be on there all the time because you're trying to figure out weird crap. Anybody else? Questions? Anything? DS, I didn't mean to cut you off. Did you want to say something else?
Oh, no, I was going to give you some feedback. I thought the session was really great. I did Grasshopper as well and still realize I have no idea what I'm doing. So this was good.
I will hopefully not get in trouble for saying this, but I am not a big fan of Grasshopper and Solo Learn. Hear me out before. Don't throw tomatoes. Hear me out. Here's why. I think when you're brand new, if you've never coded before and you don't have a computer yet, you're trying to get a computer so you can start doing it more. If you're on a bus for 30 minutes a day commuting, if you're stuck picking up your kids in that line around the corner by the school, absolutely knock yourself out. Any of those little apps on the phone, Grasshopper, Solo Learn, Angry Birds. No, sorry, that's the one I do. But any of those little apps, it's still better than you doing nothing, right? But the sooner you can get on a computer, on a laptop or a desktop, I don't care if it's a Mac or a PC, and start doing stuff like we were doing tonight, the better off you are. Is Grasshopper and all that stuff good? Absolutely, it has its purpose. Knock off the training wheels as soon as you can. Do the other stuff. If you're stuck at the doctor's office and waiting 30 minutes and you want to pull out the Grasshopper app and play around with something, sure. But if you have the option, if you're sitting at home, chilling on your couch with your phone up like this on Grasshopper, instead of sitting at your laptop, you put the training wheel back, you got the floaties on your arms. You're in the little shallow end of the pool. Get back, jump off the diving board again. You're going to go get a job and you're not going to be sitting in some office with a Grasshopper app doing your work, okay? That's my 2 cents on the Grasshopper. I don't mean to I'm not belittling it. I think there's a place for it. Absolutely. If you did Grasshopper and you finish it, that's awesome. You're taking progressive steps forward. Congratulations. And I'm saying, honestly, awesome job. As soon as you can, get on a computer because these things are all created on a computer, not on a phone, right? Go ahead.
You know, Grasshopper has a desktop app now, right?
Uh-oh. Oh, man, I'm going to have to eat my word. I'm going to make a free commercial for Grasshopper now.
No, I'm just messing with you.
I will say this in terms of Grasshopper because, you know, I'm somewhat familiar with JavaScript. I don't have solid footing in it, but the best value that you could get from Grasshopper and some of these apps is not to answer the questions to get them right, but to study the questions.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the questions, look at how they're asked, and then look at how you've decided to answer them. If the answer is wrong, look at your wrong answer and then try to get the answer correct, but look at the language and the syntax and where the brackets are. That's the best use of an app like Grasshopper.
And like I said, there's definitely a use for all that stuff. And if you're in a situation, just like I said, if you go to the gym and you put earbuds in or your headphones on, and you want to listen to music to get you pumped up because you're running or lifting or something, got it. But if you're driving down the street, you want to play the same song you've heard 6 times today, or do you want to listen to a podcast from Code Newbies or something and hear somebody talking about their journey and what they use to learn? And, you know, I'm not saying you got to eat, sleep, breathe code 7 days a week, but you are trying to change your life, right? You're trying to learn something new. You're trying to immerse yourself. Those good habits that you can make about, you know, try to code every day. Even if you know you're going to take the whole day off and you got all this stuff to do, log on, code for 15 minutes. It's like getting up and making your bed. If nothing else happens, you know you made your bed, right? The rest of the day goes to crap. My bed's made.
There you go.
So, awesome stuff. So all in all, let's see, I think, we lost some people. We lost roughly 20 people. I know some people said they had to go and other people were going to watch the recording. All in all, though, next Wednesday, I guess we'll see how the second one goes. If only 10 people show up, I guess. Oh, don't get me fired, you guys. No, I'm just kidding. It's not that bad. All in all, anybody else want to say anything before we cut it short? We did, it'll be an hour and a half, which I think with introductions and starting off and everything, I don't think that's too bad.
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead,
I have something to say. Yeah, is DSJR still on this? Is still on the call?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah. Did you get my message?
Yeah, I actually just sent you my contact information.
Okay,
perfect. I was trying to see what football team that was behind his head. So
it's the Atlanta Falcons.
Oh, okay. I'll let you slide.
I love Atlanta.
No, I'm just kidding. I didn't know if Sherm was doing. I was gonna say if that's the Patriots.
No, I know better.
Yeah. Oh, there he is. Go Pats. See, I knew it. I knew he'd have to squeeze that in there. Retire, Brady. Retire to you, Brady. Get out of here, Brady. I'm just kidding. Sherm.
I am looking for anybody who wants a coding buddy in Atlanta or online. Okay, I don't mind. I mean, I have some ideas with HTML, CSS, but I don't mind because so what I try to do every time is start all over again. Even though I know some things, I go all over again and start like I know nothing. So in case you want to start all over again, I have a whole lot of resources. I'm gonna upload it on the group you created. But hey, please buzz me, anybody.
And you guys will notice too, if you're new on Career Karma, there are a ton of people in Atlanta on Career Karma. If you are from that area and you want to look for people to, I mean, dude, start your own meetup. Start your own meetup once a month. Get together. I don't know. Find somewhere to go. Bring laptops. If you have a house big enough, I don't know. Maybe not have people come to your house, but that's up to you. That's how meetups get started. You don't have to go to one that's already there. You can start your own. And make a little pact with some other people that are brand new. Like, hey, we're going to do this together. We're all doing this school or something, and let's get through all this together and help us out. Help each other out to make it through. Let's see. So join the JavaScript Workshop squad to get updates on the coding challenges. And I think this link for this Zoom is going to be the same link every week. I think Timur said I think we're leaving it the same meeting ID. But just in case, I will post the invite for newer people that weren't here this week that need it for next time. Tokyo Note. Talk to you later. Thank you so much for coming up.
Craig, what's the meaning of that squad? Because I'm looking now to see if I can find it.
JavaScript Workshop, but JavaScript is spelled capital J and then capital S, JavaScript, all one word, but the S in the middle, I don't know if that'll mess up the search. But if you go into all the squads and you scroll down through, it's a yellow banner and it's got the JS logo and it says JavaScript underneath with a little wrench and a gear next to it.
I don't know if any of you guys saw it, but I created a Discord server just now for anyone who wants to join. I created a link.
Discord is great. And I know we've been hearing this for a long time, but supposedly either sometime this month or next month, we're pushing towards a Career Karma web app. So if you're home or whatever, and you're sitting there on your phone trying to message and post stuff and whatever, I think it's going to get to the point where we're going to finally have the web app version. So if you're sitting on your computer working, maybe you can have the app on there too to talk on the app without having to keep switching back and forth to your phone. Let me see here real quick. Code for America has brigades in major cities with any range of experience. They will place you on a legitimate development project for nonprofits and local government. Worked on the front end for an immigration tool for the Boston government from that meetup. Okay, thanks, Sherm. So Code for America, you guys could search that. I recommend using, bye Sherry. I recommend using the discussions tab on the app if you haven't checked it out yet. There's a ton of neat stuff posted there, very helpful resources. Feel free to add to it. And as much as I love memes, I don't mean add to the memes. There's some memes getting posted on there, which is funny. But if you can, I would say 2 to 3 ratio. 2 good posts for each meme. If you can, maybe balance it out a little bit. Otherwise, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you're looking forward to the next one. Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. If this works out well, maybe we can start having a second one of these on a different night, a different time that's a little bit maybe a bump advanced, or maybe at that point, maybe we can do React, you know, get feedback from y'all and see what you guys are needing at that point. Cause there's always people flowing in, brand new people. Tomorrow, there'll be another 200 brand new people on Career Karma. You know what I'm saying? So we just want to make this kind of automate this enough to where we're helping everybody out, because remember, the karma part of Career Karma is the helping out people behind us, right? Because wherever you're at now, I promise you in 6 months, you will look back and be like, man, I can't believe that I didn't even know what this was back then. You'll surprise yourself, right? Anybody else? Anything else? Sorry, I forgot to bring free pizza and soda for everybody. Maybe next time. Covered dish next week. Bring your own stuff. Chips, drinks. Otherwise, message me on the app if you have any other ideas, something we could have done better, something you'd like to see, maybe we could try, implement. Shoot me a message on the app. You know, that's it. You guys have a great night. Thanks for joining. And this is going to be posted up on the YouTube, I think, probably over the next couple of days. If anybody missed part of it or wants to rewatch it or something, each class each week should be up. We're going to have a section on Career Karma's YouTube channel just for these sessions. Okay.
Awesome.
Everybody have a good night.
Yep.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.